Welcome back to A Minute with Chelsea. It's the Hobbit hikers' very last day in Yellowstone. The sun showed up and showed out this morning. It was a very warm and sunny morning. It wasn't warm. It was warmer than it has been. And look who came to visit our campsite. We had to get everything packed and loaded into the trailer so that we could go to the airport. But when Phil put the tarp on the ground, he flung it, and little baby mice flung out of the tarp. It was so cold while we were there that a mama mouse had built a little nest inside the trailer and used Phil's tarp as warmth. And he was so upset that he flung those little mice out. He was like, oh my God, they're babies, oh my God. So Katie got some Kleenexes and paper towels and she picked every little baby up and she put their nest back together and she tucked all of them away back under the trailer where they would be warm. The mama mouse was not with them, so we don't know what happened to her, but we were hoping that if we put them all back without touching them and got them warm again, that the mama mouse would come back. So nobody panic. We checked before we left the campsite and they were all gone and they had been carried away to safety. And because it wasn't raining and it was a much warmer morning, I really hope that they survived. But they were okay even after being flung out. Katie made sure and she checked the nest very thoroughly and made sure that they all were there. I'm just glad that our trailer and our tarp could provide a little bit of like comfort and warmth for these little newborn baby mice. And I'm glad that the people I travel with are people who will sit and save baby mice, because I would 100% do that as well. And I feel like that's kind of a requirement to be a Hobbit hiker. After that was over, I went to take a shower and get ready for the morning because I don't want to fly being nasty. I hate to fly on a plane feeling dirty. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm already so dirty feeling on a plane. I don't want to add an extra layer. We were eating leftovers for breakfast, so Shelby had corn and she was very pumped about it because we were trying to get rid of the food so we don't have to throw it away from the night before. After we had breakfast, we had to get all of our stuff out of the tents, and then Phil made all of us gather around and he showed us how to properly clean and shake out and sweep a tent. Plus, he also brings a can of Febreze and you have to Febreze your tent. While he was demonstrating, I saw this little guy and I took a picture of him and then I put him on a stick and I took him over to a tree because he was going to end up inside a tent all squished if I didn't move him. Everybody was in a hurry to get all their stuff packed and get their tents cleaned out because we had to get to the airport in order for me to make my flight. My flight was the earliest one and I was like, damn it, I'd rather hang out at the airport with my friends than get on the airplane by myself. And here's Shelby demonstrating how to shake out a tent properly. Jesus Christ. For once in my life, I wasn't the last one getting ready. Everything was wet from the night before and we had to take down the pavilions and we took all of our shit and put it on the picnic table so that we could pack without taking up a tent. Here's the daily itinerary, and then it was time to do high-low buffalo. High-low buffalo is where you go around in a circle and you say the highs of the trip and the lows of the trip, and then you say your most what the fuck moment of the trip. And we usually do this with Phil, but Phil was busy and we had to hurry because we were running late, and we tried to take a group picture and the camera fell into the water and the dirt and the mud. Then it was time to say goodbye to each other. Well, not to everybody because most of us were going to say bye at the airport, but Annalise drove in and so did Jennifer, so we were saying goodbye to Annalise and Jennifer. We didn't even get to finish our high-low buffalo. We had to do the rest of it in the van, and some of us finished ours in the group chat because we were in such a hurry. And I feel like hugging is more important than high-low buffalo anyway. I love that everybody on the last day of camp kind of looks like haggard and rough. And it was time to give Phil his tip and his card. We all tip him as much money as we can possibly give because he did such a good job. And he deserves it. He's just been so wonderful. He's such a great person. He's just such a wonderful, he's a great guide. He's very knowledgeable. He tells you to listen to your body. He cooks great food. He listens to what the group wants to do. Look at everybody's faces. They're crying. They love him. He's a great person. Phil, I know you don't have social media, but if you ever see this, just know that you're always a Hobbit hiker for life and we love you. I will be requesting you for every trip we take in America and hoping that you get to go with us because we just think you're the best. And I love how much TikTok loves him and he doesn't even have a clue. And then it was time for everybody to cry because we all had to say bye, and it was like we made our speeches and it makes it hard and everybody cries. But that is the beauty of a Hobbit hiker trip, and I just think that this community is perfect. Most of us are neurodivergent, most of us are plus size, most of us are a little bit fucking weird. We are all slow hikers, we all love nature, we're all kind of nerdy, but we love each other and we're here for each other, and everyone is kind, and I just think that that is the most important thing in the world. And I've been very lonely and isolated since this trip has been over because I'm realizing just how few people I have in my life that aren't online or in my online community. Once you leave camp, once you leave Camp Brave Trails, once you leave a Hobbit hiker trip, you're just home alone. And that's what I need, and that's what I'm supposed to be working on, and I understand that, but it doesn't make it any easier when you watch this footage back and you just miss You miss the human connection. And some of the people at the airport, we had to go our separate ways without knowing it, so I didn't get to say goodbye to everybody the way I wanted to. And I just want to say I'm sorry to those people who I didn't get to hug and say goodbye to. I really do love you and I appreciate you, and I'm so sorry we didn't get our moment. Once I got to the airport, I was alone because I was on a flight by myself, so I got some pasta Alfredo with pesto sauce. It was only $9. I feel like at the airport that's pretty cheap. I also had an upgraded boarding because I get 4 free upgrades a year with my credit card, and I went ahead and took it because I was supposed to be in the back of the plane. And I thought, I am nervous about my connection flight. I really need to make sure I'm one of the first people off the plane. So I got the first front row, and it was actually kind of amazing. I stopped off in Denver. Look at this cool bathroom. This is where you wash your hands, but you can also see the planes outside. I made my connecting flight. I was only there for like 10 minutes. I just popped in and popped out. I did grab a bagel because I was hungry and I skipped breakfast at camp. I spent the entire flight taking footage off my 360 camera and editing it and then putting it onto my phone. That way, whenever I got onto the next flight, I would be ready to edit video. I can't just sit and sleep on a flight. It's not something my body will let me do. Unless it's a red-eye flight or like a really long international flight. I'm not a good sleeper on vehicles or airplanes. So I usually spend that time to work. I start editing, I go through and take screenshots of a video. I don't ever just take photos. I take videos of everything and then I screenshot the photos that I want. So I went through and did that. I added things to my favorites album. I edited some pictures, and then I went into our app called Photo Circle and I uploaded all the footage so that everybody else could see it as well, because that's the app we use to share our content whenever we are away from each other. I finally landed in Little Rock. It was at like 11 p.m. It had been a long day of travel, but I had a lot of layovers and I changed flights 3 times. And you know what? I honestly am okay with that because I'd rather spend time in the airport than on a plane. I came home and I said hi to baby Mitten, who did not care that I was home, but did want to show me her tennis ball. I did my laundry, I threw everything in and shoved it down in there. And then I said, I am so exhausted, but my house is so warm and my bed is gonna be so comfortable. I took a shower and I went to sleep, and it was great.